Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to another biblical reading with Brother Walton. Um, I was actually surprised, and it really shouldn't be because I see it all the time and it's constant. And we were talking with Brother Dolph, and he was talking about how it happens all the time. So this week, it's kind of been a reoccurring theme to tell people I think they need to know a lot of the stuff that's going on with the world is stuff that we can help with that by doing righteousness with what God wants us to do and following the right ways in life here. Um, I just opened up because I wanted to see where God would take me here. But we should look at here, and it ends up being James 1, and it goes over how James had the information about that and what he had to say on it here. Because I notice a lot of people have these issues with this. I look at the community of the biblical believers, and they seem to listen to it, but they don't seem to go much further than that, or they seem to be in certain ways going on with this. James, a servant of God and the Lord of Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which were scattered abroad, greeting. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect works, that she may be perfect and entire and wanting nothing. And you're wanting nothing, you've got all that you need to go on here. If you lack wisdom, ask God of that he giveth all men liberally, and be upbraideth not, and it should be given to him. As we were talking with being a child of God and getting accepted in, if you ask God for wisdom, he will be giving you the wisdom. He'll give it to you liberally. I know there's been lots of times where I've liked to know information that he was trying to reveal to me, or information about life that I feel that's appropriate that he would want me to know and say, hey, God, what's the answer at this? And he would give me supernatural knowledge of it. I don't know how he does that other than the supernatural, but you obtain the knowledge and then you test the knowledge and ends up being 100% right. It's definitely amazing. For he let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. So if you ask God not wavering and expecting to get the knowledge, then the knowledge will come to you. For he waveth like a wave of the sea driven by wind and tossed. If you're tossed around, then you'll be lost amongst the sea. You won't get anything done. For let not the men think that he will receive anything of the Lord. If you're getting tossed around, a double minded man is unstable in all of his ways. So if you're trying to go after two things, you're trying to go after man or uh, God, and then you're going after something else. One mind's going this way and one mind's going that way. You're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to be unstable in your ways. Let the brother of low degree rejoice in he that is exalted, but let the rich in he that is made low, because as of a flower of the grass he shall pass away. For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, but withereth the grass, and the flower thereof falleth, and the grace of the fashion of it perisheth. And so shall the rich man fade away in his ways. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised him that love him. So if you can get through the temptations of life here and keep following God here, keep on the steady path, then you will be given the crown of life, and you will be able to be with him in eternity as his child. Blessed is the man who endureth temptation. Oh, we just read that, but we'll read it again since you want me to read it, apparently. Blessed is the man who endureth temptation, for he is tried shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised him that love him. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God, for God cannot be tempted with evil, neither be tempteth any man. But every man who is tempted, when he is drawn away of his own lust, enticed. Then when the lust has conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, brings forth death. Do not err, my beloved brethren. If you get tempted by evil, it brings a seed into you, and it begins to make sin and death, and you continue to go down the wrong path, and you can end up sick, dead, or so for that. There's other verses kind of done over the weekend that were talking exactly of that. That in Numbers 5, I believe it is, that talks about when people are fornicating against each other and losing commitments, then they can get sick and rot their parts out of the way, which mirrors a lot of the places there. If something's not working and you're doing something against God, you'll be uh, subject to death with that, and things will rot. You'll get disease. There'll be illness. And there's so many people in the world here that are just doing whatever with their lives. And sadly, a lot of them profess that they believe in the Bible, that they're Christians, or so with that. And well, how can you do those works and do those things and be Christian? You're making a bad example for the other Christians, as well as those ones that are looking up to you. And God doesn't want you to do that. That brings death into you, and you're destroying his temple. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. It comes down from the Father of lights, whom there is no variable, neither nor shadow of turning. For of his own begot us with the word of truth, that we shall not be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. Another way that goes with that too is if we can't contain our wrath and be slow to speak and try to hear what's going on with that, we'll be quick to anger and cause a situation that will be more trouble than we were anticipating. That's going to cause trouble for God. That's going to make his children look bad. That's going to make you look bad. That's going to make life more difficult and bring you to death. Some of those situations can end up getting you to death. Therefore, lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness and grafted word, which is able to save your souls. But ye be doers of the word, and not hearers only, for deceiving yourselves. I want to go back up there and touch on 21, where therefore lay apart filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness. The naughtiness translates from what ends up being the word malice in other places on the Bible. So when you're having malice and destruction for people, then you're also destroying God's people. It's another thing that brings death and decay when you can't contain your malice, and that malice flows into hurting people, taking God's family out on your own volition. But ye be doers of the word and hearers not only, deceiving our own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man beholding his natural face to glass. For he beholdeth himself, and he goeth away, and straight forgetteth in what man he was. So essentially, they're saying when you don't do it, you're just looking in the mirror, looking into the glass. You see yourself, and then you go away and you forget what you were. You forget what you're looking for. As I'm always encouraging everybody with this here, and goes with that salvation, we're children of God. You're a child of God, so you should do your work as a child of God. You shouldn't just come up and, I see myself, I'm leaving. And then you forget who you are. You don't say, hey, I'm going around being the child of God. You just see that child of God there and you forget about it. But any man who looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, there not being a forgetful herder, but a doer of work, the man shall be blessed in his deed. So if you keep doing what you should for God and you keep doing righteous things, then you will succeed in it. You will get righteous for that and be blessed. If any man among you seem to be religious and bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is vain. Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and the widows in their affliction and keep himself unspotted from the world. So, yeah, if you are Christian like that and you can't hold your tongue and you deceive your own heart, your religion is really in vain. All that saying, hey, I'm Christian and I'm a follower of God, I do what Christ instructed me to do, that's essentially what the Christians are. I've got more of that I try to help everybody understand with that because it's a full Bible here. We've got so much here. I've got the Perry Stone split of it off the Hebrew, but everybody wants to kind of read this, say, yeah, I've read this, but there's this whole basis of what God's doing, why he sent this man, the man he called Jesus Christ, Yeshua Mashiach, for everybody, what his whole plan was, and then you get the end that tells you what's going on now, the life of his son, and what's coming up here. That whole beginning part of it, though, mirrors exactly what happened. It shows how God has grace, how he brought us into the family that starts in Israel, that starts with the Jews, and said all the Gentiles can come in. You can believe in me. You can follow me. You can accept my child that I'm giving as a sacrifice to you. And you can come into the family. You can be a brother with him. You can come. He can pay the sins for you. And then you can all worship me. You can be my children together. And we've got to stick to that as a religion with that. We've got to follow God, got to follow God all the time. I'm excited because I've heard some things about 2020 that's coming up here. I expect to continue to be a part of that, to help everybody grow with God. Always feel free to let us know any let me know any questions. I'll try to answer those kind of things or help them get one of our my associates that can. Let me know if there's anything you're interested in seeing. And thanks. Peace. So long.